Hello, good day. This is Angeline Buaga, and for this morning, we will going to discuss the scope and sequence of physical education from grade 3 to grade 6. But before we begin, let us first define what is the meaning of scope and sequence in a curriculum. When we say scope and sequence, it is a term that describes the ideas and concepts that covers a book within a curriculum. So let us now begin with the scope and sequence of physical education from grade 3. For this grade level, the 5 learning strands of physical education are still indicated, which are first the body management, movement skills, rhythms and dances, games and sports, and of course, lastly, the physical fitness. As you can see in our curriculum, for the first quarter of this grade level, the learning process are focused on the components of first one, we have the body shapes. So when we say body shapes, these are the curled, twisted, straights, and others. And second one, we have the body actions such as standing, walking, sitting, and so on. And that will be for first quarter. For the second quarter, for grade 3, we have the locations, directions, levels, pathways, and planes. For locations, it's all about in front, behind, over, other, and the likes. And for directions, it's all about forward, backward, sideward, and others. And for levels, it's all about high, low, middle. For pathways, it's all about curves, zigzag, straights, and lastly for planes, it's all about horizontal, diagonals, and so on. And that will be for the second quarter. And when they move to the third quarter, the students will learn about time, force, and flow. When we say time, it's all about how slow or how fast something or someone is. And when we say force, it's all about how light or strong something or someone. And for flow, it is the smoothness of movement. And that will be for the third quarter. And for the fourth quarter of grade 3, the scope and sequence are persons, objects such as hoop, balls, and others. And of course, they will also learn about sound and environment. As you can read in our curriculum, the difference of grade 3 from the lower grades is that the participation in enjoyable and is now challenging activities in different locomotor, non-locomotor, manipulative activities, simple folk dances such as tiklos or kunday-kunday, rhythmic routines such as ribbons, hoop, balls, and other indigenous or improvised materials. The learners will also participate in some lead-up and organized games or indigenous games like patintero, tumbang preso, something like that. And of course, in corrective exercises. When we say corrective exercises, these are the exercises that usually done to correct some dysfunctions of our muscles to improve our stability, balance, and posture, like squats, some kinds of stretching, and others. And that is the scope and sequence of physical education from grade 3. Let us now move on to the scope and sequence of physical education for grade 4. But before we discuss the scope and sequence, let us first try to take a look on our curriculum. As we can see, the scope and sequence from grade 4 to 6 are way different from the scope and sequence of other lower grades. Because the scope and sequence from grade 4 to 6 are focused on health and skill-enhancing activities, ensuring that they are integrative and inclusive in context. The reason why it is Health-Enhancing Fitness 1 for grade 4, Health-Enhancing Fitness 2 for grade 5, and lastly, Health-Enhancing Fitness 3 for grade 6. So later on, we will going to discuss that. But for now, let's proceed to the Health-Enhancing Fitness 1, which is in the grade 4. For the learning strands or the strands for this grade level, as you can read in our curriculum, there are only 3 strands that are indicated, which are physical fitness, games and sports, and rhythms and dance. And starting from grade 4, every learning strand or every strand of physical education is now indicated for a specific quarter. However, the strand physical fitness is still being monitored or observed from first quarter to fourth quarter through the assessments of physical activities and physical fitness or health-related and skill-related components. For games and sport strand, it is being indicated for first and second quarter, wherein for first quarter, it's all about the target games. When we say target games, these are the activities in which players send an object toward a target, avoiding any obstacles, such as tumbang preso, touching, batuhang bola, or tamaang tao. And for striking games, these are shato, basagang palayok, kickball, and other fielding games. For the second quarter, it's all about invasion games. When we say invasion games, these are the games wherein you need to be teamed up to invade other teams' territory, such as agawan base, alawin at sisiw, agawan panyo, and the likes. And for the third learning strands or the strand of rhythms and dance, it is being indicated from third quarter to fourth quarter by teaching the students some of folk, indigenous, ethnic, traditional, and some creative dances like liki, ba-ingles, and other available dances on their area. And that is the scope and sequence of physical education from grade 4. Next is the scope and sequence of physical education from grade 5, which is the health enhancing fitness 2. The same from grade 4, grade 5 has only 3 learning strands or the strand that is indicated, which are physical fitness, games and sports, and of course, rhythms and dance. For the first learning strand or the strand of physical fitness, it is still being observed from first quarter to fourth quarter through the assessments of physical activities and physical fitness. For games and sports strand, it is now being observed from first quarter to fourth quarter, wherein for the first quarter, it's all about target games and some striking or fielding games. For target games, these are luksong tinik, batuhang bola, tumbang preso, and others. And for striking or fielding games, these are shato, piko, kickball, and the likes. For second quarter, it's all about some invasion games like agawan base, agawan panyo, and others. And when they move to the third and fourth quarter, it's all about some wall or net games and invasion games. When we say wall or net games, these are kinds of games wherein you need some walls or net to play this kind of activities such as badminton, volleyball, tennis, and others. And for the last strand of scope and sequence of physical education from grade 5, it is the rhythms and dance, in which it is being indicated specifically for third and fourth quarter for the components of folks, indigenous, ethnic, traditional, and other creative dances such as polka sanayon, cariñosa, and any other dances available on their area. And that is the scope and sequence of physical education from grade 5. Let us now proceed to the scope and sequence of physical education from grade 6, which is the health enhancing fitness 3. The same as from grade 4 and 5, the learning strand for this grade level are only consist of 3, which are the physical fitness, games and sports, and lastly the rhythms and dance. Just like the last 2 grades, every learning strand or every strand is indicated in different components per quarter. And again, for the first learning strand or the strand of physical fitness, it is still being observed from first quarter to fourth quarter through the assessments of physical activities and physical fitness. And for the second learning strand, which is the games and sports, that is being observed from first quarter to second quarter. Wherein for first quarter, it is monitored by engaging the learners in some target games and striking or fielding games. For target games, these are ubusan ng lahi, frisbee, batikobra, and others. And for striking games, these are basagang palayok, shato, and other fielding games. For the second quarter, it's all about invasion games such as Agawan Base, Alawin at Sisiw, Agawan Panyo, and the likes. And lastly, for the scope and sequence of physical education from grade 6, it is the strand of rhythms and dance, in which it is being indicated specifically from third quarter to fourth quarter for the components of folk, indigenous, ethnic, traditional, and creative dances like itik-itik for girls and maglalatik for boys, and any other dances available on their area. And that is the scope and sequence of physical education from grade 3 to grade 6. I hope it gives you the systematized flow of what we are going to teach in elementary for the subject of physical education. And that will be for the day. Again, this is Angeline Buaga, and have a good day.